Filmgoers experiencing blockbusters in Leicester Square are about to get a surprise taste of something more down to earth. From today, a groundbreaking series of short films being shown at the View Cinema there featuring Londoners. Well, Mark Curry's one of the directors. We can hear a clip of his film about entrepreneurial Hoxton hula hooper Marawa.
Hula hoops come in lots of different colours, but they look their best when they're taped in super sparkly, shiny or glittery tapes. We've been getting lots of secret boyfriend orders. My girlfriend comes to your hoop class. Do you know which hoops she wants? Do you know what colour she wants? So I've been doing some guessing, but...
Good morning to both Mark Curry and to Andy McRobbie, and it's the subject of another of the films. We're going to speak to Andy in just a moment. Mark, first of all, what's the theory behind this series of films? What unites them, if anything?
What unites them is the city. Basically, we set up this 5-year project where we're going to make 1,000 films about 1,000 different Londoners, and the only thing that really unites them is that they are Londoners. So we've got everybody from John, who's a Polish cage fighter, to Marawa, who is a hula hooper, to Martin, who's the last cloth trader in Shoreditch. We've got such a massive range of different Londoners already. We're only 12 in so far.
So you're looking for the other, whatever it is, 994 or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we keep filming them every day. We film somebody absolutely amazing, somebody completely different and completely special.
And how do you find them?
In all sorts of different ways. We run open events, so we're running one at the Phoenix Festival down near Camberwell this weekend. We've run them in shopping centres in Wandsworth, in Peckham. But also people on their own networks, they get in touch with us, they recommend people, and they go onto our website 1000londoners.com and suggest Londoners. And
also with us, as we mentioned, Andy McRobbie, who's the subject of another of the films. His is about bringing the East London music scene to the west of town. I'm just going to quickly listen to this.
And we kind of open up our doors to anyone and everyone. We've had Japanese synth maestros. We had a pop band called Germany called Sparkling. We had an Italian prog group who wore like overalls.
Yeah, we had a bunch of Americans who was
Oh, yeah. Loads of Americans. We're in East London. It's just a whole swathe of interesting people all coming together in this weird unit.
I'm loving the sound of an Italian prog rock band in overalls. That just is a mind flipper.
And also, I was trying to sound as pretentious as possible. And also, thank you for calling me special. I don't think you got that, Mark. Thank you very much.
He did. How did he find you? How did you get involved?
Well, it's through the open mic that I co-run with a few friends out in East London. One of the girls that works with Chocolate Films came along, and I'm always waxing lyrical about my endeavours, and she goes, "Oh, you'd be really good for this project." I was like, "What do you do?" "We'll just film you for a day." I was like, "Yep,
she
sign me up."
She talk like that at all.
No.
Sure, something like that.
A little bit like that.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
And you're a teacher as well, Andy, and you've got a specific interest in science. How do those two things kind of combine with the music?
Well, it's very interesting because my father's a scientist as well, and also a big blues man, and loads of science and music are very closely intertwined. Science is quite creative, and people don't realise how creative it actually is.
Well, they say that Bach is a mathematician, isn't he, really, the way that he does his music? Allegedly, what do I know?
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that, yeah, certainly. And I try to teach things like physics and chemistry through talking about things like a gig. Going to a gig, how does the sound come out of an amplifier? It's all about different ways.
I have no idea.
Of course, modern music,
how does that
music
happen?
is very firmly based in the kind of hardware, isn't it? And I think there's a connection, isn't it? Didn't you put on a festival about the famous amp man Jim Marshall?
Yes, I'm originally from the home of rock and roll, which is Hanwell in West London.
I'm sorry, my sister used to live there, and I don't remember it being...
That's interesting to say that, because the festival I put on at the Hanwell, well, me and a group of people, proud Hanwellites put on, to commemorate Jim Marshall of Marshall Amps fame, sold his first amp to people like Jimi Hendrix, Pete Townsend, in a small town called Hanwell. And we thought that deserved some recognition. And yes, your nephew was one of the bands that played.
Oh, well, how funny. He's in a band that supported the Rolling Stones at Hyde Park.
And the Rolling Stones played their first gig in Ealing.
And my aunt is Diana Ross, and my cousin's Luther Vandross. I made those two up.
And I look a bit like Mick Jagger.
And so it goes on. And Mark, what are you hoping that cinema goers are going to get from this?
Well, I'm hoping that they discover these films, they discover the project, and they get involved. I mean, basically, the amazing thing is that View Cinemas came along to our preview at BAFTA, and they came up to us afterwards and they said, what we'd like to do is we'd like to take your your films, the 1,000 Londoners films, and put them before all our feature films at View Leicester Square and at View Piccadilly from tonight. So for the next 8 weeks, if you go and see Captain America, you might see Andy before it. If you go and see Divergent, you might see John the Cage Fighter before it. They're lovely stories, and I hope that they find more out about London.
And do you know what? I used to love having a short before the film.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know,
Whiskey
I'm
or
sorry,
gin?
you probably don't remember, Andy. It's a long time probably before, but
How
we
dare
used,
you?
but we used to have. But those shorts were often really brilliant, and I remember seeing. I think it was Delicatessen, or maybe it was Amelie, where they had a short film about loves and loathes. It was about, I hate this and I love that, and it was gorgeous. It was a beautiful little 5-minute nugget.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I mean, these are all 3 minutes, so they're not going to take up your entire evening. They're just going to be a little taste. The idea is that you stand on the tube, you can dip into people's heads for 3 minutes, find out about the people around you, and find out what London's like. And in these 3 little minute nuggets.
And as well as the people you want to focus on to make the films, do you need directors? Do you need people to help with the kind of other side of the camera?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the team at Chocolate Films, where I'm from, we're making them all at the moment, but we're actually doing an open call for submissions from next week, which is going to go up on 1000londoners.com. So if you've got a Londoner and if you've got a camera and you fancy making a film about them, then you can send it in and we'll get it up on the site.
So you need to get onto the web,
Yes.
interweb, 1000londoners.com.
Yes.
Any other way of getting it? Twitter?
Twitter at 1000_Londoners, Facebook 1000 Londoners, YouTube 1000 Londoners, everything is
And
1000
1,000
Londoners.
as in 1000.
Yes.
How
As
much your
opposed
next
to
project,
1,000.
Andy?
My next project. It's really just continuing with what I'm doing, really. Continuing with the teaching, innovative ways of teaching science. Continuing with the nights in East London. And my main aim is just to shift a bit of the music scene back to the West.
Yeah, it's
where
gone
it
too
started.
far east, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, far too far east. So
Yeah.
we're just trying to shift it along the Central Line, beyond Oxford Circus.
Yeah,
Look
Central
out.
Line was in a terrible state last night. Can I just have to wait 20 minutes for a tube? Very unusual. I love the Central Line.
And look out,
one of my
South
favourite
Russell,
lines.
rock and roll is coming your way then from the sound of it. Thank you very much for joining us. Andy McRobbie there. Andy, the subject of one of those films we've been talking about. We also spoke to Mark Curry, one of the directors in that fascinating sounding project. And you can catch those short films at the View Cinema in Leicester Square.